Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. My name is Mark. Okay, here we go. You know, I've had Nanoblast Inc. making comment after comment, and so has 4 or 5 others. And they are just livid that I am using these, what did one... What did one person... Oh, one person called it a dead metaphor. A dead metaphor explanation. And so... Sorry. Okay. I'm going to go over some things here. Because they accuse me of cherry picking. Oh, the favorite word is cherry picking the definition. I'm cherry picking a definition that seems to apply to atheism. And I'm getting, why are you going over the fact, just glossing over the fact that almost everybody thinks that religion applies to an organization with a deity, So, and I even had one, I think it's a lady, that not a religion, okay? Oh, and disclaimer right up front. I'm going to say this a lot of times through the video, and here we go. These are not my opinions. Even as much as you want to label me and say they're my opinions, these are not my opinions. These are the talking points and propaganda of atheists about atheism. So the definition that I think she was talking about, a pursuit or interest which someone ascribes to importance, she said was a dead metaphor that didn't apply. And so I wrote back and I said, well, wait a minute. That dead metaphor applies to Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, Taoism, whatever you want to call it, and many other. Those are just the big 3 I can think of at the moment. So is it dead or is it living? Does it apply to that or not? Boom. The post was deleted. The comment is gone. I can show it to you in my notifications, but you can't get to it. It is gone. Why delete the post? Well, you were wrong. You tried to make a point that didn't work. But come on, have some courage. Leave the post there. I mean, so what? You look silly. Leave the post. Okay? If it was a matter of grammatical error or something, then edit it. But don't delete it. Come on. I mean, that just slap in the face says, I know I'm guilty, so I better just try to hide this. Like the bald analogy. But the cherry picking thing, that's really getting out of hand. You're cherry picking, this applies to deity organizations. This is just some stupid arbitrary. Okay. And then I wrote to another guy, oh yeah, right. Okay, let's say I'm standing there holding a rifle or a pistol or some weapon. And I say that bear means to bear arms, to carry an arm, to carry a weapon. And you say, no it doesn't, it means an animal in the forest. Am I cherry picking a definition? If I'm standing there holding a weapon, saying that it applies to carrying a weapon? Or are you cherry picking a definition of the word bear when you say it applies to an animal? Because obviously you're wrong and I'm right. That's why words have multiple definitions. To get away from the silliness of you're not using the word right. Of course I'm using the word right. Atheism is a religion. Duh. If that definition applies to Buddhism that doesn't have a deity, Confucianism that doesn't have a deity, Taoism that doesn't have a deity, the one guy says, explain to me why you gloss over the fact that religion definition applies to all this other stuff. And I said, you bet, you sure, no problem. What you require of me, though, I will require of you. So first, since you brought up the subject, you explain to me how that definition doesn't apply to Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism. Haven't heard anything back yet. That was Nanoblast. So I appreciate Nanoblast bringing these points up, and Paul and Jilliam and all these others, you know. I appreciate it, because I've got 4 or 5 of them that are fighting against each other on on things, and I'll get to that a little later. But when you look at this, I am not cherry picking a definition if it applies to the situation at hand. I tell these people there are connotation, denotation, syntax, context. Language is pretty fluid. It can mean different things in different contexts. It can even be spelled different in the English language. So when you say that consumerism, veganism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, it is accepted that these are religions. But oh no, somehow that definition doesn't apply to atheism. That's disingenuous. That is false. Of course it applies, because of all the things I mentioned in the other video. Of course it does. But we'll go over these again, because I'm getting flooded with comments telling me I'm cherry picking a definition. No, I'm actually picking the definition that applies, because the other ones don't. But I am picking the one that does, because the definition is in there, and I didn't write the dictionary. It's not my opinion. It's not my definition. These myths are not mine. Now, I mentioned these atheists fighting against each other. Yeah, dogma. I've got a bunch of them fighting against each other on that. Because I've got the one camp that says, oh, come on, that's silly. Everybody has a dogma. But we're people, that doesn't mean atheism has a dogma. Everybody has a dogma. That's their angle on it. That argument doesn't apply, because everybody has a dogma, and so you could stick that with anybody, and so that's garbage. That doesn't work. Really. Then I've got the other camp that says atheism has no dogma. We are people without a dogma. No dogma. No principles, no set of principles, nothing we go by, no dogma whatsoever. And I'm like, have you two groups met? It's like the flat earthers, where you get the ones that say the Gleason map, the AE map is perfect, and the other ones that go, it doesn't work, but we don't really know what's out there, so we're not going to really talk about evidence. We're going to talk about feelings. And you get the flat earthers that do the same thing. You show them there isn't a circling sun. You show them, evidence why there can't be a circling sun. With the equinox, where almost every point on Earth has a 90-degree sunrise and a 270-degree sunset at the spring and fall equinoxes. Yeah, you get those groups that fight against each other. There's a war with the flat earthers. Well, apparently there's a mini war in the comment section of my videos, where you got the one group that, and remember, here's this disclaimer again. These are not my talking points. These are not my myths. These are not what I'm saying about atheism. These are what atheists in videos and in my comments and everywhere else are saying about atheism. These are atheists propagating this stuff, not Christians, not Buddhists. These are atheists saying this is atheism. And they are saying they reject dogma. They have no dogma. They fully reject dogma. I'm like, okay. And then when I say, what about these guys? Well, crickets, nothing. I'm like, you two people ought to get together and decide what your talking point is going to be, and if you're even going to have one. Because clearly the one is trying to minimalize the situation by saying everybody has one. And the other one is being steadfast to the old talking point that says atheism doesn't have a dogma when they clearly do. And they clearly have a point of view, a tenet put forth, and they're really authoritative about it, aren't they? But both of these groups that are texting in their comments to my videos, the ones that are saying, nope, no dogma, and the other ones that are saying, everybody has a dogma? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Everybody has, trying to minimize the damage caused by the other group that says we don't have a dogma of any kind. So you've got the one set of atheists on damage control, and you've got your stubborn atheists, bullheaded ones that are saying, we have no dogma, religions have dogma, they have these creeds, they have this other crap, we don't. Yeah, you do. Just talk to anybody. Of course you do. Everybody does, according to your other atheist buddies. So, it's silly. And see, me sitting here doing atheist and flat earth videos, I can tell the similarities between the two. Anything they don't like is irrelevant, immaterial, doesn't, they minimalize it or reject it totally as fake. Like, lack of belief is not belief. Oh, you hear that all the time. You hear these funny arguments about a stone or a bald man or whatever they're trying to throw out there. And I even had a guy say, oh, I'm going to go to the barber and tell him I want a flesh-colored haircut. Okay, he'll shave your head, because let's back up here. It is a belief system, and you do have a belief if you're an atheist. You believe in anti-belief, and it's not nothing. It is something. It's not like it's antimatter is antimatter. It is something, and matter is something. It's a way of thinking, an idea, an impression, a theory, a conclusion, a notion. You have the notion that there's no God. You don't have any empirical evidence, no proof. So you have a notion, you have a belief, you have faith that there is no God. It's not a lack of faith. You don't have nothing. Let's get I love analogies. You have a balloon full of helium, it's Christianity. You have a balloon full of helium, hydrogen, argon, neon, and you call that Hinduism, let's just say for analogy. Well, the balloon of atheism is filled with sulfur hydroxide. It is not empty. It's just filled with something that is not like the others. And when someone accepts something as true or real and firmly hold an opinion about it, without any empirical evidence, it is faith. So, in my analogy, the reason I say helium for the Christianity, there's one substance inside that balloon. And for Hinduism, there's a whole bunch of substances inside that balloon. But for atheism, the balloon isn't empty. It isn't flat. It is a balloon, and it's filled with something called anti-belief. And it is an ideology. It's a principle, an ethic, a tenet, a doctrine, a teaching, a dogma. Remember the ones that say, yeah, we have a dogma? That's what a belief is. So there is something in the balloon. It's just in no way, shape, or form resembles what's in the other balloons. But if you want to say, no, the atheist balloon is empty, what about the Buddhist? What about the Confucianist? What about Tao? No. See, you can't say that their balloon is empty either because you call them a religion. You use the original number one definition of religion, that dead metaphor, as your basis for calling them a religion. Their balloon has something in it, doesn't it? Well, guess what? So does yours. Your balloon has something in it. It's called anti-belief. Okay, no organized body. And again, let's go with the balloon analogy. Presbyterians, Pentecostals, Protestants, Buddhists, Confucius, Taoists, they've got something inside their balloon. They don't have they do have local meeting places. And I get these comments on here. Oh, so we're not supposed to meet? We're not supposed to be allowed to sit and talk together about it and stuff? Look, again, disclaimer. These are not my myths. These are not my opinions. These are not my talking points. These are not my propaganda. These are atheists about atheists. This is Atheist on Atheist. This is atheists educating us about what an atheist is. And they say they have no organized body because they're not a religion. And yet you turn around and they have local meeting houses, they have meeting groups, they have discussion groups, and they have all sorts of stuff like this. You know who doesn't have an organized body? Who doesn't sit around and discuss it? Agnostics. They don't care. They don't even... Atheists are active. They do have meetings. They do have discussions. They do have groups. They do have propaganda type information they put out. Try to find up the atheists, I mean the Agnostics Union videos. Not too many of them. Now, no organized meetings or meeting houses. That's another. Now, this is not my opinion. This is Atheist on Atheist propaganda, where they say, this is why we're not a religion, because we don't do this. Wrong answer. They do. Not all of them, but they do. And I get these comments and texts saying, oh, well, of course we do. We're mocking the way religions meet. We're mocking their style of doing stuff. No. It is not mocking. It is mimicking. There's a huge difference. These people are not mocking a Pentecostal meeting. They are mimicking a non-denominational meeting. The reason they mimic it is to get all these people feeling comfortable with the situation they may have come from, where they did have these kind of meetings, but they were shouting praises and singing songs to some deity. But now they're just doing it to life, to the stars, the sun, the moon, or nothing. It is, or to an anti-belief. But they do have these, and it is a mimicking to make these people feel comfortable in the setting they may have come from. Now, some atheists never came from this setting, and they will, I don't think they would like it. I don't know, I can't speak for them, but I don't think they would like that kind of a thing. They would go, what the crap is this? But for your atheists that came from this kind of thing, wow, they'd really be into it, not knowing that it's just one religion replacing another. And I get finally, oh, here we go. Okay, again, not my opinion, but the opinion of atheists. But again, let's go back to the analogy. The balloon isn't empty. It's full of something. Matter exists. Antimatter is not nothing. It exists, but it is antimatter. Okay? Do we really need to go over this again? I mean, they have an ideology, and it is deity-based in that it's anti-deity. But it is something. there is a substance filling their balloon and swelling it up. The only ones that truly seems to be just flat and all the life sucked out of it is an agnostic. I haven't really, but then again, I haven't really went out there and studied it because I'm being hammered by atheists in the comments section, and they're, come to think of it, I haven't had many agnostics at all that I can recall say anything. Now that truly is a vacuum and a void, I'm thinking. They don't get excited about it. They don't, and there's no way you can tag them there is no local meeting of the agnostics that I know of. Maybe there is. I'm not world traveled. I don't really, I get my information same as everybody else, and then I filter it to see if makes the smell test. And when Time Magazine and USA Today talk about atheist megachurches and how they're mimicking other religions' meetings, even down to passing the plate. Time Magazine's a pretty good source. Usually, I mean, they do, let's not get into that. But anyway, usually, information, what you do is you take your time and you just look at it. Me, I am sitting on the outside looking in and going, I cannot tell you from that picture if that's a Pentecostal, a Presbyterian, I can't tell until it pops up and tells me that's an atheist megachurch. From that picture, I can't tell. I can tell it's not Buddhist, but I can't tell if it's a Presbyterian, a Pentecostal meeting of some sort. You tell me how you can tell from that picture that was any one of those three. It's mimicking it, not mocking it. It's mimicking it so people feel comfortable and familiar. And they have a theology, they have something, it is addressable, it is actionable, and it is called anti-theology. It is a belief system that runs counter to theology. Antimatter, matter, light, dark. It runs opposite to it. I'll tell you, some people say that darkness is not darkness, it's the absence of light. I'll tell you, have you ever been in a cave and they shut the lights off? You can almost taste that darkness. But I digress. Anyway, anti-theology is a belief system. It is an ideology. It is a theology, but it is anti-theology. It's not nothing. It's the opposite of something. It is a tangible thing that can be discussed, can be propagated, can be almost felt. It's a belief system, and it's a basis for atheism. Like I've said before, I don't get what this vehemence is about just admitting that it's a religion. Do the Buddhists have a problem with being called a religion? Do Confucianists have a problem with being called a religion? Do they go hysterical and make comments all over on your videos? No! If I walked up to a Buddhist and said, "You're a religion," what would happen? Nothing! They would probably look at me confused and going, "And your point? Do you want to come inside and light an incense or something?" What? They would just look at you. You try that with an atheist. Not too many of them. One-on-one, you may be okay, but you get a bunch. Just don't do it. This is a public service announcement and warning. Do not try this at home. Do not tell an atheist they belong to a religion that is trying to supplant and replace deity-based religions or theological or ideological religions like Taoism, Buddhism, Confucianism. Do not tell them that face to face. Make a video so you're safer. I'm telling you, what is the wild vehemence about admitting the truth? You're a religion. You're an opposite religion, but you're a religion, so get over it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Mark with Productions MJC.